is outside. You can't fly in here. Besides the purple skies, better soaring for you, my angel. You're an angel, you little devil. As for me, I'll lay inside. I'll be just fine and I'll watch from the window. Cannot categorize.
Yeah, welcome to Red River Podcast, probably 174. That sounds about right to me. Today, Mike Terry from the Jukebox Romantics comes back. Right, you've been on once, twice, three times. I don't even remember.
Once before.
Oh, I thought it was more than that.
Maybe this is the third time then?
Okay, yeah, I think it's been three times for sure.
Okay. One time we talked about the band. I think one time we talked about definitely a movie. I just don't remember.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. And
our decade of friendship or more.
Yeah, longer for sure. Today, and we got our new friend Gary from the Warped Tour band, and you do an Alkaline Trio band too. What do you do?
I do a Green Day.
Green Day.
I play in a band called Dookie. So
okay.
We're
yeah. I mean, that's so. I'm playing a show on March 16th with my friend Justin, who's in that band Up for Nothing, and he does paper lanterns.
Okay, yeah, awesome, yeah. That's an oldie.
I never heard it before, so when we booked the show, I was like, I'm going to listen to it, and he laughed. That's so funny. I started at Dookie, and I think I don't know if I followed them, maybe like an album or two, like Insomniac. Was that the next one?
Sure. Yes, I believe so.
Okay, yeah. So I think I was a two for them for sure. But today we're going to talk about Alkaline Trio, and it makes sense that we waited this long. Actually, I know we were trying to do it before the new record came out, but at least now we could talk about the new record. So before we jump into, we're going to do 10 favorite songs, and then from there we're going to rank our we're going to basically put the 10 albums in order. So Gary, being the first your first appearance, what do you think of the new record?
Well, okay. First of all, I think the writing, I feel, is miles from like the way that they've done things before. I think, especially reading articles up until before they released the album. I mean, I remember seeing an article about Matt saying how like a lot of times they would just like be in their respective states that they were living in, because I think Dan was still in Chicago, and then Matt was living in California, so like they were pretty much just sending each other songs, and then like I guess recording with Blink and playing with Blink for that span of time, they were doing stuff all in like the same room, and Matt was saying that it was almost freeing for them to like get together and actually be in the same room and write together, and it felt like they were doing it like 20-something years ago, when they first started.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be
that brought them back.
That's about cool. Yeah, I mean, it's so foreign to like me because like I go to practice every Tuesday, so to me it's like that's what. But I get it. Like
sure.
I know people that are in bands that like get together just before the tour and that's it. Mike, I know you guys are kind of like spread out. How does Jukebox do it?
So yeah, for a while we were just kind of in like the first show of tour would be practice. And then because we were just like we were touring like 200 days a year, and since the pandemic that's changed. So now pretty much it's we practice, we try to practice every Wednesday, and that doesn't happen, and it's pretty much whoever can get together gets together and writes. So we write together if you have some ideas, and if we're in writing mode. Right now we're in writing mode, so that's how we do it. But yeah, we're definitely not like let's put it in the email or put it in a Dropbox and like write your idea. We've kind of been getting that way because we have younger guys in our band who are audio recording guys. So we kind of been doing more of the scratch track, finding tempos, writing ideas that way, and then kind of adding the drums to it, to the ideas. But yeah, we're definitely not like the fucking postal service or something like that.
Yeah,
we're just mailing tracks to each other and coming out with a platinum record. I don't know how anybody kind of writes music that way without being in a room with people and vibing on energy. It's just not how I can do it.
Listen, that album in particular that you mentioned, they're like the forefathers. They were like the beginning. They're like, oh, we're just gonna make this record and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
But first impressions, Gary, because I know we're gonna talk about the record like eventually. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let's keep it simple at that.
Well, the funny thing too was that they had released like 3 songs beforehand.
Yeah.
Before they even released the album. So like getting that little bit of a taste was awesome. But like I was not prepared for Hot for Preacher. Like as soon as that track started and like the riff was so good. It's like so not like him really. Like it is a very different type of riff for him to pull out. And I think I attribute that to like his play with Blink too. I think
possibly because he also said like, I was listening to him on maybe it was like the Tuna on whatever podcast, and he said he approached it by just he's like, I'm not going to use power chords. I'm just going to basically do everything and occasionally like when it calls for it, I'll use like the power chord. So I think a lot of that stuff, because even like Versions of You later on, like, I mean, I don't know who wrote that riff. Yeah. So
great riff. Also.
But so Mike, first impressions, like, what'd you think? Like, not so much?
So I can only compare it to like pro wrestling in the sense that when a pro wrestler comes out there and somebody gets booed or cheered, it's better to have a reaction than no reaction.
Sure.
And so I heard the record and I had heard the singles. Well, yeah, like 2.5. I heard Bad Time, and then I heard the other one that's in the skate park, and then Break, kind of. And it didn't really have a reaction, which is not good. I feel like having no reaction is not that great of a thing because I don't have a way to go one way or the other. And so maybe it'll be a growing record and where it grows on me over time, which a lot of Alkaline Trio records and a lot of bands in general, that just happens just because of getting familiar. But yeah, first impressions was like nothing. Yeah. I didn't feel anything. I actually kind of, to go off what Gary said about the riff, I've never thought of Alkaline Trio as a riffing band. And so for me, Alkaline Trio are my top 3 favorite bands. They're one of the reasons why I wanted to be in a band. And I wouldn't have known what an octave is or on guitar if it wasn't for trying to learn Private Eye when I was younger. So like to hear like the guitar playing, it's very guitar playing heavy, and not like they didn't do that before. If you listen to God Damn It, there's plenty of cool little licks and guitar things that he does.
Yeah.
But this one is so in forward, and I just don't think right off the bat, first impression, that like any of these songs can be pulled off live that well. And because there's way too many guitars things going on.
Yeah, you're right. Because I saw the Jimmy Kimmel thing. We had that discussion when they did Bad Time, which is my favorite song off the record. And I was like, I'm like, there's 3 of you, but I hear a guitar. I don't know where it's coming from for sure. Yeah. But I'll tell you this, like you said, top 3 bands, they might be. Like if I really break down the bands that have been super influential for like me and what I do. So all 3 of us, I think, are like super fans, which is why I wanted to have this episode, because the 2 guys that I do the podcast with do not give one fuck about Alkaline Trio. So that's why they're not here. So do you want to do, let's do the albums last. That way we'll just we'll rattle those off and we'll just focus more on the song. So Gary, everyone got the homework of picking 10 songs, which is super hard. But what I did is I just basically picked all my favorite songs from the records. And then from there, I just kept going and spinning it around and be like, okay, do I like this more? Do I like this more? And then just kept going until I got to 10. And then from there, I numbered it, which is still pretty fucking hard because for the most part, maybe the top 3 I could say are my favorites, and then after that the last 7 could fall anywhere. So how did you pick your 10?
So I kind of just free flowed like a list, as I just hummed songs. I was like, this is my okay, and then like I started with like the first one, and then I ended with my last one. What I do realize now is doing that free flow is a lot of them are Dan songs.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I think I am definitely more attuned to like Dan's aesthetic. I think.
Well, Dan got like his songs in the later records, like he's smoking Matt right now. Matt has a style. I mean, they both do, but like, goddamn, like the records that I have towards like the end of my pile of their discography are only because I don't really like Matt's songs as much, but Dan has some really like on the record that I have at number 10, some of Dan's best work. But
can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? So I feel like a big part of this band for a lot of people and for us, I think, is they've been a band that we've all been listening to, I think, for a long time.
Yeah.
So when did you start listening to Alkaline Trio? Like what record did you get into, or what year was it? And then where, I want to know what record you heard, and then where did you go from there?
Okay. For me, it was the sampler. It was the Vagrant sampler, and I heard maybe it was Stupid Kid and Bloodied Up, or maybe it was Bloodied Up and Crawl. I don't remember. It was like
Bloodied Up was on that sampler for sure.
Okay, so Bloodied Up and Crawl. And to me, like, I never really felt much, like, I always knew that I had like punk rock adjacent tastes. So like a lot of like the, when the NoFXs of the world, like it didn't really click to me. So
was it in 2001 though? Like when you heard the sample?
Yeah.
So like you heard it at the time, not like somebody showed you like a couple years ago.
No, no, it was right before the album dropped on Vagrant. And then I checked them out, and then from there, just like there was something like unique about like they didn't really, I don't know, they were just a different band in the lyrical content. I was like, oh, this is great.
The reason why I ask is because not because of nostalgia factor, because I feel like this band, even though there is a nostalgia factor to a lot of the music, and where I was in 2000 and like a freshman in high school listening to that record, or sophomore, I feel like unlike other bands, and the three of us are musicians, so it's a little different. But I think when you said, are you more of a Dan guy or Matt guy, Gary? I feel like when I was a kid getting into Alkaline Trio, similar thing, somebody showed me, I think I lied my face off, like the 7-inch in the room in like 2000 or 99, and I did not like it. And then I heard Bloodied Up on that sampler, I think, and Alkaline Trio were opening up for Blink. And Sum 41 was opening up. There was Sum 41, Alkaline Trio, and Blink at Roseland.
Wow.
And so From Here to Infirmary was just coming out, and that's the record that kind of I listened to, and then I got it. But I asked because I started off as a Matt guy too, and I've switched to more of a Dan fan over the years. And I don't know if that's songwriting or just as a songwriter. And I think as we get into our picks, I think it's interesting. But Gary, when did you get into Alkaline Trio, or how?
So it's probably From Here to Infirmary as well, to be honest. Like I remember, I used to read alternative press or whatever, and it was actually a couple of years late after From Here to Infirmary came out. So like I think I was reading an article, and they were getting a lot of press when right before Good Morning was coming out, and I think I went to go like find went to like Tower Records or whatever. I went to go try to find it, and they didn't have it, but they had From Here to Infirmary. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this. Like
I think this is important to our list, because if we had somebody on here who got into Alkaline Trio last year, I wonder what their list would be, going back to old. No, because it could be very different, but we all clearly went back to the old records before From Here to Infirmary.
Yeah.
So there's definitely something about From Here to Infirmary that's like the catalyst to fandom for this band.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're going to see that as I talk on. Okay. All right. So let's do number 10. Gary, what do you have at number 10?
My number 10 was Warbrain.
Okay. Yeah.
Which,
Great song.
I think that was on maybe a Tony Hawk.
Rock Against Bush.
Rock Against Bush.
Thank you. Yes. And it was on a comp. And I mean, the way the guitars just come in, and like the sound effects and everything, and then it just goes into the rollicking drums. It just kills it.
Yeah, and they always play it. It's a song that they've added to the set list a lot lately, which is really cool. I know me and Mike were at the Wellmont Theater, and I'm pretty sure that they did it there.
Nice.
Mike,
big fan favorite, that song. I think that's why they started playing it. I think for a long time they didn't realize how much of a crowd favorite it was.
They got a bunch of those. They're like Weezer when Weezer pulled
Yeah.
out like a beast, like a B-side. They're like, oh, you guys like this song? You gave your love to me softly. So,
Yeah,
Mike,
exactly.
what do you have at number 10?
So I promise you, before I preface anything anymore, this is the only band that I've changed my favorite songs weekly, monthly. Blink-182, Bouncing Souls, and Alkaline Trio are my top 3 favorite bands of all times. And some of those bands, Blink and Bouncing Souls, my favorite songs kind of stay the same for the most part. Alkaline Trio, Murder by Death, these bands kind of like the song changes because I'm open to wherever they were going. I have a lot of friends who also got into Alkaline Trio through From Here to Infirmary, and basically by the time Crimson came out, they only listened to everything from Good Morning and before. So I'm happy to jump around. I did not number my list because
it doesn't matter.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
But if somebody says a song that's on my list, I'll just jump on it. And so my number 10 is also Warbrain. I think Warbrain is a killer song. Alkaline Trio on their own have probably a better B-sides collection than any band. Yeah. And Warbrain really hit me because they quote a Bouncing Soul song in it. They said, I need that song, A Night on Earth, to pull me through.
Yeah.
And I remember.
And Trusty Chords.
And Trusty Chords. And I remember I saw Alkaline Trio played the old Limelight, the Club Avalon in the city.
I was there.
And Against Me opened up, and that was it. Against Me was the only opener. Alkaline Trio played for 2.5 hours. And when they played that song, he changed the lyrics to The Bouncing Souls will pull me through. And I was like, well, that's the most like Bouncing Souls line ever. And then they just and the Bouncing Souls
made it more.
And the Bouncing Souls were in the audience. So I was like, this song fucking rules for so many different reasons. But just like, one of your favorite bands mentioning another favorite band is just kind of cool. So Warbrain's my number 10.
All right. So yeah, same thing with me. I celebrate the catalog, part of me wanted to put Bad Time in, but it didn't seem fair to like the rest of the discography. You know what I mean? So like I kind of like left the new record out because I didn't really have enough time, but man, I think that song is one of their best songs.
It's definitely the best song on that record.
Yeah. So I got Dan at number 10. I got In Vain. I love the songwriting on this song. Like I like the drumming, like this, I mean, that song in particular, like you listen to it, there's so many cool parts. Dan does like the greatest harmonies for himself, but like all his parts like really have like, anytime we write songs and, I'm thinking of like a friend of mine, like he's always like, yo, you gotta move to the right note so it has that lift. And a lot of his shit, like when it hits the chorus or the pre-chorus, it hits that note. And this song in particular, In Vain, off of Agony and Irony, I fucking love it. So
he does that a lot on his solo stuff. The hitting the Dan note sweeping thing. In Vain is one of those things. And I feel like In Vain is a great song that was like the bridge of Crimson. Like it could have been on Crimson. Definitely like a song they wrote back then and they reworked probably for
it. Just like
record. The
melody to the verse, like you got a good song when even the verse is catchy.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, this bangs. So moving on. Gary, what do you got next at number 9?
Number 9, we got Dan. Maybe I'll Catch Fire. Excellent lyrics to me, is from a sophomore album. I mean, yeah, Maybe I'll Catch Fire is just simple songwriting at its best, I think. And I think that's also, it feels that's where Dan was starting to even like blossom as like the songwriter that he is, well, even then, like, because I mean, he's got a bunch of bangers on From Here to Infirmary as well.
Yeah.
and so forth. So,
he was on his way. He was on his way there. So, and then they made it the title of the album.
Yeah.
And lyrically, even back then I knew lyrically he was better. Like Matt came up with some cool lines here and there, but I feel like Dan always got him on the lyrics because he was like, it was just different. Every now and then Matt pulled some cool shit out, but Dan was just like a really good lyricist. So, all right, number 9 there. Maybe I'll Catch Fire. Mike, what do you got next?
Number 9, I got Maybe I'll Catch Fire. I mean, I don't have a number, but if you say it, I'm just going to put it there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll Catch Fire is one of those records that's so dark. And I think it's where people put Alkaline Trio at that time into like, this is a weird gothic Hot Topic kind of band. This is where they started getting the darkness before they went full like Good Morning into it. I feel like Maybe I'll Catch Fire was the more classy goth that they were kind of going for, and less like in your face, like commercial kind of darkness. And the song Maybe I'll Catch Fire is not a song that I loved on record as a kid, but anytime they play it live, I cannot help but like get really teary-eyed. It just hits me in the feels. And just the Dan imagery of looking out the window and that whole thing, throwing lit cigarettes out, like it screams to high school me, like in that time period of just like, being like in your head about shit that it's like high school shit. And like that song can be taken from any point of view in your life. You don't have to be a high school kid to get that song, but as a high school kid, you totally can get that. But if you're like going through a divorce or a breakup or just lonely somewhere, like Maybe I Catch Fire is like I need to be alone with my feels song. And just a great song and great album title.
I didn't have anything from that record, but I love every song on there. I looked at every song, and I looked at the clunkers, and I kind of, maybe that's how like I ranked the albums. But I love, like you were talking about, like, early goth stuff. Like Tuck Me In is one of those songs where you're just like, oh, this is so ridiculous, about tarantulas laying. The
imagery is definitely a little over the top.
It's all the Alkaline Trio skeleton imagery comes from that record. More so that even though like God Damn It is very, like alcohol driven. Like and depression. This is like, I mean, Maybe I'll Catch Fire is like, how dark can we go?
Yeah,
it's even it's very dark.
All right, so my next one, I'm going to Infirmary. A song that always stuck out to me, and no one ever mentions it, but every time I hear it on the record, it's so fucking catchy. Steamer Trunk. I fucking love that song.
Very close to my list.
It's just like, why
it was my favorite.
I turned out the way I did. Like, every part of that song, and then the last chorus, they kick it up and stuff, man. I could have just named 10 songs from Infirmary, but I didn't. But I needed to throw Steamer Trunk in there.
Steamer Trunk is a great example of the sonically different things that Alkaline Trio does compared to other bands of their caliber and generation. When you first hear Alkaline Trio, there's something that all their drummers do, even though they've had 3 or 4 different drummers.
You're right.
They have this very round, circular type of drumming, and Steamer Trunk is a great example of that. What they do it a lot on Goddamn It and all their records, but specifically, like there is something there that like I would, like, as a young kid starting a band, I would never think to write a song that had that type of rhythmic feeling to it.
Yeah.
And it's all their drummers have that style. Even now with Adam Willard, he has a very like Glenn Porter and Mike Falumley and Derek Grant style of drumming. He just plays a lot harder, but it's very much like that style of just like open. I can't describe it. I'm a fucking guitar player, but like, we
try
for sure. Yeah. I almost wonder if like the drum, because they've had all those different drummers, I wonder if it is just the songwriting in general that like kind of steers them towards that drumming. Like, I mean, their style is obviously their style, but like in order to like fit with what's being written, they probably are very attuned to that.
Yeah, they probably pick up
do it really well.
But also, like, because Mike, when he plays with the Smoking Popes,
yeah.
So you take Lawrence Arms, you take the Popes, and you take Alkaline Trio, and like you said, they're so unique. Where like young me that was like, it came from like the indie rock background. There's certain things, even like when I was listening to hardcore, like I didn't really give a fuck about hardcore, but when I heard Refused and I heard VOD, there was just something different about it. And when I switched over to like punk stuff, like Alkaline Trio was just something that immediately I'm like, okay, this is definitely like the universe that I want to be in. So yeah. Next one for you, Gary, number 8.
It's a Queen of Pain off of the Split with Hot Water Music. Again, another imagery song. And I think you had mentioned before how, Matt every now and then will have some clever, he's got some good ones in this song. But from the guitar riff to just the lyrics in general, the imagery that he uses is and it's a catchy melody. Such a really good melody for a Split.
That split
track,
is that split is unbelievable.
Great split.
I mean, Hot Water Music got him on those two covers. I mean, like they fucking like wow, they did Bleeder and Radio. I'm like, yo, they fucking killed it because I like Rooftops, but I still like Hot Water Music's version a lot better. But
agreed.
Yeah.
But yo, Queen of Pain, like I just posted a cover that I remember I had the conversation with you, Mike. It was such a like rhythmically on the acoustic guitar, it just doesn't work as well because it's like he's like fucking like playing like jump rope with the melody, and I'm like, oh, it's so good.
If you ever want an example of type A Alkaline Trio songwriting, a Queen of Pain was on my list, Gary, until 3:00 this afternoon. I replaced it with something else. Because I like I said, my list changes constantly daily, and so I love that song so much. They never play it live. I think I saw them play it once live, but that is the quintessential how an Alkaline Trio song is written, like this traditional standard.
You're right.
It starts off, and then you have the very simple first verse with the power chords, and then you have the bass second verse, and then the chorus grows each time. And it's kind of how a lot of punk bands write music, but that is the Alkaline Trio way for sure, that song. And yes, it is his better imagery. And that song screams New York City nighttime. Like it's great.
And the beauty of what he does, which is what I try to like, hammer into our guitar player, even though he's, when someone is a really good guitar player like Rich in our band, it's hard for him to dumb it down. And like when you hear Queen of Pain, I'm like, this is all you need, Rich. All you need. And
he wants to do more.
Well, of course, because he's just like, this band sucks. But yeah, no, for sure. It's like you said, it's Alkaline Trio 101 for sure. That song in part, like, just so good.
And another non-album song on the list. Like
I got many of them. So Mike, what's your next one?
So since I took Queen of Pain off, that's not mine, but I'll just go down the other way. I'm going to say I'm Dying Tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, I got that too at number 8.
I'm Dying Tomorrow. Kind of, the more better production version of Maybe I'll Catch Fire. And so same idea. And just, I don't know, like fucking just the whole maybe I'll, like questioning yourself in every sentence of those verses. Did I do this? Did I do that? Maybe. And then the music grows with the questions. It's just all the feels in that song. It's really like an emo as fuck and emotional as fuck without sound, but without being slow and boring. It's just great movement in that song. And just like very like, straightforward. Like I'm dying. What did I do this? And that's that. Like, it's just a great, easy topic.
Super relatable. It's at my number 8. It's my next one. I always love this one from Infirmary. It's just like lyrically, it's great. I definitely covered it a few times acoustically. And it's just, I mean, it comes right out the gate. I'm dying to like so good. Fucking love it. Great lyrics. And
the chord movement's awesome.
Yeah, and it's just like it's when you really break down the lyrics, it's kind of like simple but genius at the same time. And one of the gems. So that was my number 8. So we'll go to your number 7, Gary.
Oh, okay. Dead on the Floor, off of This Addiction. I think that might be my only This Addiction track, but because some of the later albums, like you said, there are definitely some clunkers. Dead on the Floor brought me, imagery wise, it brought me back to like Queen of Pain. Not as good, but like really cool opening riff. That open E chord that it's working, that the riff is working over, and then just the imagery of like the shifts in the night and all, the plane crashing. Also very similar to Nose Over Tail, the plane crashing imagery. So. And it's just like a catchy pop song to me if it's like stripped down and just acoustic.
Oh yeah, for sure. Which they did on Damnesia. A lot of those songs were.
Yes, they did.
I didn't really, it took me forever to listen to Damnesia, which is the acoustic record that they put out. And I finally did one day and I was like, you know what? That's pretty good.
Just the production's kind of crazy.
But they cover a song that we cover in Cover Me Bad, which is like one of my favorite Violent Femme songs, which is Held Her in Her Arms. I was like, nice. I fucking love this. All right, so up to you, Mike. What do you got? 7.
Okay, so preface this 7 with a quick story. I was in 10th grade Italian, and our lunch break was at 11:50, and my teacher let me out at 11:45 so I can catch the bus from Dobbs Ferry, New York to White Plains to go to the Galleria so I can get Atticus Volume 1 because Atticus was coming out. And the reason I was going specifically was for two things. The debut song from Boxcar Racer, which was Tiny Voices. Nobody had heard anything. I Feel So wasn't out yet. This was like they were dropping this Atticus compilation, and then I Feel So was coming out with a video like the same week. And Alkaline Trio's Jake Don Green Beers, which is a great song, very different for them at time and in general. It's very much like a major chord sounding fast punk song. And, you know, before we were all in our cars taking turns singing along to Taking Back Sunday and who's singing what parts to what song in the car, I feel like songs from Goddamn It and Jake Don Green Beers, me and my friends were always just passing off like who's got the damn part, who's got the Matt part, and Jake Don Green Beers was like that, and just driving fast and like you know drinking and doing drugs while driving, listening to Jake Don Green Beers.
Yeah, been there for sure. I love that song a
Great
lot.
choice. Great
Yeah,
choice.
I get
Fucking
it.
we did an Alkaline Trio cover set at Pooza and at Booze Cruise
That's right, you did. I
in
forgot.
Germany, and Jake Don Green Beers was one of the songs that we tried to do. We were trying to limit it to like 8 or 9 songs, and Jake Don Green Beers was the first one to get the axe. Not an easy song to play.
It's weird to play. Like
it's very weird. The timing is off. It's probably why they never played it live. There's something weird about it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
We tried it. We're not, we tried very hard. So,
and that's like that would be like Jukebox wheelhouse, I think, because it's so reminiscent of
it wasn't. We were just like, what is going on here? And we just couldn't pick it up like where it was. It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I couldn't tell you. If I did, I would have been able to play it. So
all right. So my next one, I have number 7, something from Good Morning. Man, when this record came out, super excited. I remember he was having vocal problems, and to this day, he always mentions how hard that record was to make. But man, those tours were fucking fantastic. I loved it. All on Black is my favorite song from that goddamn album. I love the imagery, the upside down cross, everything about that song, the intro, which is like something that riff, like it's he would use this like different version of like the A, which is always like cool, like with the D and the G string
moves it down.
Yeah, and the outro, I loved it. One of these days, it's
super
gonna catch up to. It's so good. Yeah, man.
Opens the whole song up right at the end.
Yeah, because I'm a fan. I've always loved a good outro. So if you hit me with a good outro, like, we always try to, with my band, well, I'm like, yeah, we gotta, we got to do something completely different on the outro.
I feel like blank listening to Good Morning, if you were just to listen to it all the way through once, All on Black was easily, I think, a lot of people's first favorite songs off that record. It just stuck with a lot of people right off the bat. And then when you got into the records, other things changed. But that song was just Chef's Kiss, great song. It was my favorite song for a long time on that record.
Very accessible.
They never, maybe I saw them do it once, but it's very rare. All the time,
dude, they for fucking years, they just played This Could Be Love to open up every set after that fucking record.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so annoying.
So All on Black. All right, so All on Black is my 7. Back to you, Gary, number 6.
Cringe. Going old school. Cringe is again another like banger. Just the what is it? The noise that they're making before they start recording. And it's just so like such a raw recording, and his voice really like hits you.
Yeah, when they start off with that, like, or whenever they play that live, it's like about like I think it's like under 2 minutes, right?
Oh yeah,
and it's just like
such a fast song too. Yeah.
It's just like this, like everyone knows it, everyone loves it, and fucking you got that outro, which now he sings some of the outro, which is cool because there's a lot of like, he does it with Hell Yes too now, Hell Yes.
So good.
So, yeah, great pick. And I think that you could definitely, aside from our list, because we're super fans, you could definitely consider that as like one of their classics for sure that people love. All right, so on to the next. So we have Cringe. Up to you, Mike.
So yeah, I also have Cringe. Cringe is a song that Jukebox would cover for years, even before we did this Alkaline Trio cover set. When I hear Cringe or even play Cringe, it's like one of the few songs that's not a hardcore song that when I hear it, I can just fucking put my head through a wall. It is so
Yeah.
it's just like go, go, go. And the lyrics are about being on a bicycle in the cold and it's go, go,
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And I remember Jukebox was in the studio writing something, and there was a part we wrote at the end of the song with no lyrics, no vocals. And I showed it to the producer, and I was just like, "Oh, this is like the guitar part." And he's like, "The what?" I'm like, "Oh, it's just like a big guitar part, like ending. The drums are doing this thing." He's like, "What?" He's like, "Give me the example of what you mean." So I showed him Cringe because there was a whole part of that song where there's no lyrics or vocals or anything,
Yeah.
and he was just like, "Yeah, I get it, but not what you're trying to do."
Yeah.
Like I get it. It doesn't work with everything. Not everybody can pull that off. And I think now, even I don't think they would write a Cringe.
They would
not write Cringe now.
Yo,
but it's so cool that there's a whole song that's just like that.
I'll tell you this, revisiting the records, I realized, and you'll see how new top heavy my picks are. There was something to be said about those structures. Like you hear Cringe, even San Francisco. It's like, when the fuck are you going to start singing? We're like a minute in and you're basically playing the same riff over and over again. It was just a place and time. And like you said,
you're also biased. You're a songwriter. If you're just a listener, do you think the listener's thinking about how long this fucking part is? Maybe.
I don't know. It's a good point. Probably
like San Francisco. Like nobody. I mean, maybe you're right. You might be right because nobody's clamoring for them to play San Francisco. If they did, I'd be stoked. But like most people, like, oh well.
But they would do it their way now for sure. They wouldn't play 4 minutes of it. I could almost guarantee you.
I feel like a lot of the songs on that album have really long intro. Like I was thinking of Cop now as well. Like that's got that whole like the siren.
Dude, what song is it? Oh, Trouble Breathing is fucking long as fuck.
But a lot of cool stuff. Like a lot of, like a lot of really cool,
like cool riffs.
Very unique for, like you said, for like their, what they would be considered, as far as like their contemporaries at that time, whoever they are. So, all right. So back to me, right? Oh yeah, you guys had that. I have Old School Reasons.
Ooh.
I fucking love Old School Reasons. I don't remember where I first heard it, but as soon as I heard it, so I keep mentioning Cover Me Bad, which is like the cover thing that we do. We a band that we do like maybe 4 or 5 times a year, and that was one of the first covers that we learned in like when we first started, like fucking 14 years ago, whatever. So funny story about that song. I wanted it in the set, and we played out in Patchogue, and our friend Jason, who sings in Iron Cheek now, like as soon as we were done playing with it, he's just like, "Yo," he's like, "Great." He's like, "Now play an Alkaline Trio song anybody knows." But like, I'm like, we were so happy. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. This like I know we just loved it, but like in retrospect, everyone, like, not a lot of people know it. But now, once they put out Remains, then it got a little bit, more pop to it. But for the most part, no one knows it except the hardcores. And that song fucking rules. Every time I hear it, DIY Lobotomy, great chorus. It's just, that song's fucking just awesome. Super catchy as fuck. So
it sounds like it's recorded in like a garage, but it sounds great. It still sounds great.
Yeah.
And like I remember when they wrote that song, they said they were trying to write a song that sounded like the Clash. They were trying to write Clash City Rockers or something like that. And it's exactly the same as Clash City Rockers.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that actually makes sense.
I think Skiba was like, we're trying to write a Clash song. And it makes sense. And it's a great song.
I got these thoughts in my head. All right, so top 5. Here we go.
Yeah, we're at the halfway mark.
Let's do it.
My number 5 is Stay.
Oh, wow.
Is This Thing Cursed? I think literally all these last ones are all dance songs, but I mean, Stay to me is something that could have been just like one of his solo things.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like it's almost like it was something that didn't make it onto either Bygones or the second emergency room.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like this maturing songwriting, you know, this maturing sound that he's cultivating, and I just love the lyrics. I love the melody. I mean, to me, Dan can do no wrong.
Yeah, that's all. Listen, the chord structure on that, I don't know what it is, but it sounds like an EAB type fucking progression, like
super simple. Yeah.
But it's just something that you've heard a lot, but it's just like when he does it, and then he like once the verse kicks in, then he switches it, and
and it's his
great.
vocals.
Yeah,
to me, like his vocal inflection has gotten better as well.
Oh,
me,
without a doubt. Like I would listen to, what is that song he did? Enjoy Your Day.
Oh, this is Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I knew that's where you were going. That was an automatic skip for years. Great song, but
I get it. I can't. Yeah. Message for Kathleen, I could fuck with all day long. But that Enjoy Your Day, like I'm just like, yo, I can't, like I'm good. I'll never.
When they did it live, full band, it's great.
That's actually Yeah, that was good.
But at that point, he learned how to sing a little bit differently. He covered up his lisp a little bit. You know, something with a lisp, like a slight lisp. I can understand what he's saying, but his comes out when he sings. My sort of lisp is gone when I sing. So Dan's lisp is strong. It's strong.
All right. So next, then, what do you have on your list, Mike?
I also have a dance song. So, and I picked this one because I like this whole record a lot, and this one kind of encompasses the whole record, and I don't have anything else from this record on my list, but that's Emma from Good Morning.
So good.
Really catchy. And, we were talking about Matt's vocal issues, which is like a big story about that record. And I feel like this is where Matt shines doing his really high, screamy harmonies. The points set up, boys, that whole thing is like where he tries to go live and he never hits it. He tries to scream high all the time. He does it with Hell Yes. He did, he tried doing it even on record with I'll be fine without you, or even Sadie screams one. He tries to get these high register things, and because of the I love Good Morning, but the recording quality on that record is weird, and the fact that his vocals were fucked up, it kind of works with the way the recording quality was. And that song, just really catchy chorus, good dance stuff. And I love what Matt does there because he doesn't do it that often. He does it sometimes, but that high register Matt harmony isn't always there, especially with Dan's songs. And I don't know, just a good song. And I picked it because I needed something off that record, and I couldn't pick the whole record as one song because it's such a good record.
Man, he really Matt shines on that song, like with those harmonies. I fucking love Emma, and they always play that song live. 100%.
Yeah, I think it's a big fan favorite too.
Yeah, and I remember they talked about how their songs were so different on that record, which is another disconnect. Like, this could be love to like Blue Carolina or whatever.
Blue Carolina,
all right, so my number 5 is off of Agony and Irony, Love, Love, Kiss, Kiss.
Oh,
that song is so good. Yo, like immediately, this was my favorite song when I heard Agony and Irony. I'm like,
really?
Yeah, you hate it?
Why. I know why.
Why? Tell me.
You're a big Smiths fan, and it's such a Morrissey lyric.
Yeah.
Like that chorus makes my skin crawl.
Yeah.
The Love, Love, Kiss, Kiss. Live, it was all right, but on record, it's just so cringy.
Yeah.
And
you're right.
But what I
in
did
all the
like,
good ways.
but what I did like with that song, and I'm glad you picked it because I think this is really cool. At the time when that record was coming out, the big marketing play they did was we're going to release the sheet lyrics. The sheet music to Love, Love, Kiss, Kiss. They released the chords and the tabs and the lyrics, and basically it was like, everybody write and record your version of the song and send it to us. And I don't know what they did with them, but I remember that was part of the marketing.
I don't remember that at all.
It was a big part of it.
Around this time, I kind of dipped out on them. Like this record didn't really hit me as much as I wanted it to. And there was like a hole between this, so this was like that, and then This Addiction. I kind of went back a little bit more during my Shame Is True, where I'm like, okay, like maybe I'll give it, I'll go back to like always listening to them. But yeah, like at first, Agony and Irony, like I was like, I don't like this, but that song in particular, and you're right. And you know where I'm going next week, right? I'm going to go see Every year, me and my girlfriend go see a Smiths tribute band. They always play in Manhattan or Brooklyn. So yeah, this song is a very, very Smiths adjacent song. I love it, man. I just always did. Somewhere on Instagram, there's a version of me covering it, and it's funny when you say that about the chorus, because I can see how that would be nauseating. It was either this or do you want to know? Those
great
two
song,
songs.
but
Yeah,
it's just as annoying as that new song.
Yeah.
But it was in my head today. The I song.
Yeah,
So
that's Gary's number one. That's Gary's number one.
It's Meet Me, right? Yeah. No, it's not my number one. Thank you.
All right, yeah. So Love, Kiss, Kiss.
Cool.
Back to you, Gary. 4.
You've Got So Far to Go. Great bass line. It's weird that Boxcar Racer stole it, but what are you gonna do?
Did they?
It's just chords. Yeah, it's literally it's that A octave, and then it goes to the C sharp to a D, right? You've got and then I think Cat Like Thief literally has the same riff.
Okay.
On the Boxcar Racer.
I never
Check
thought
it
of
out.
that.
Yeah, it is the same riff. But yeah, again, just this is one of the Dan songs where he's coming into his own still, and great like first date, great story about a first date.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash is fuck the song.
Well, he also, what I love about this song is he rides that, like he has a way of coding the melody onto the chords.
Yeah.
And it's just like he really does it with this. Like he plays around with it. So like he's a master at that shit, man. Like once I hear that bass line and he's like playing jump rope with that melody, and I'm like, this guy's good.
Yeah, but you know what? For all the nice things we say about Dan, he needs to start speaking up for himself, because not one Alkaline Trio record has like really good bass tone. Like the tone is good, but you cannot hear the bass lines on any record. On God Damn It, yes. But everything after that, his bass is hidden. He's got. If you watch him play bass, he's nuts.
Oh, he's nuts.
You do not hear that shit on the record, and he's definitely playing it.
He's so good. Like him and Matt just have that chemistry, vocally and musically. But goddamn, if you look over and that's your bass player, like
you're in good shape.
You're in
good shape for sure.
You're in fucking good shape.
Yeah,
for sure.
But that's what I'm saying. So You Got So Far to Go. You got a bass line right off the bat that you get to enjoy, even though it's not his crazy bass line. It's still nice.
No, it just works in the song though.
Well, he's really good at note picking too. Like his note placements are great, even if he plays 3 notes. Yeah. It's just like, oh, those are good. Even when he plays high up on the neck sometimes and he hits those right notes, like, there's just something to his ear that's like, he's a genius. So, Mike, next one.
So I guess Gary and I need to start a band, because I also have You Got So Far to Go.
Yeah.
We have like a lot of the same picks, but You've Got So Far to Go is, I don't really play acoustic ever live. I do 1 to 2 acoustic shows a year, and I always cover You Got So Far to Go. It is the perfect Dan song. It's the great song. I think it's the best song on that album, probably next to Maybe I'll Catch Fire, but it's definitely it definitely is the vibe of that record. And just, I don't know. Usually back then too, I would always skip a slow song, and that song starts very slow, but the imagery, and just like, I don't know, falling in love in high school is just like, this is a great song. It's just like,
yeah, that's what it makes you feel like. It really does. Like, bring
I get chill.
Like
I got goose flesh just thinking about it. It's just like,
well, Gary plays bass, so just throw that's it. And this motherfucker, like when I went to go see the Warped Tour band, he sings. So, like, you sing just as good as Anthony. Like,
do you do a lot of trio songs?
We actually don't. We do like Mercy Me.
Well,
that was probably like one of their biggest hits. But I've been pushing to try to get another one in there. But me and Anthony the singer, we're always trying to like.
You could do Private Eye. People get into it.
Private Eye would definitely. That definitely would.
So the only time I went to a Warped Tour, I went once, and it was specifically to see Alkaline Trio, and I think it was like 2003, maybe. Does that make sense?
That's probably about right.
Yep, they were on it.
So I went to go see. I saw the Bosstones, the Casualties, and Alkaline Trio, and
I was there.
Yeah, and like I don't remember who headlined, but I think after the trio, I was like, I got to get home.
Yeah,
I didn't go. Yeah,
it was hot that day.
I don't remember who headlined though.
No, I think maybe No Effects did or something like that. Because that's
Yeah.
the only time I see No Effects was at that Warped Tour.
At the Warped
Okay.
Tour.
Yeah, maybe
And that one specifically,
that one,
2003.
that makes sense. Back to me. Am I up again?
Yep.
All right. So number 4. Yeah, these next 4 for me are just without a doubt my 4 favorite songs.
Awesome.
Goodbye Forever.
Ooh, yeah.
When I heard this song, once again, it was just like I played out that EP collection CD with all the bangers on it.
We had this talk, and I had this talk today with a lot of people, a lot of my friends who are big Trio fans. They were like, I was like, it's not an album. They're like, how can you not put that as an album? Like, it's not. It's a collection.
It's a
He's
collection.
like, well, it was all presented to us as an album as kids. I'm like, you're right. And they're like, and how are you not putting Goodbye Forever on your list? I'm like, it's not on my list, but it'll be on someone's list.
Yeah, it's just, there was something about, when I listened to it, they did that thing that I guess they're just good at, just like that, those 2-chord riffs, but it was like different. And then like the melody to it, and then like the high, like everything, like this is just pure DNA, old school Alkaline Trio. Like this song is just so fucking good. And yeah, I don't know. Needed to throw it on there, man. Goodbye Forever. Remember last April.
It's
good pull.
I feel like that's where that song is what like when they were writing Maybe I'll Catch Fire. I feel like Maybe I'll Catch Fire is like goodbye. It's like the same. He's like, how can we write another song that's like this? I feel like
you're right. Yeah.
It
has that. Yeah, it has more Maybe I'll Catch Fire vibes than Infirmary vibes for sure.
Right.
Cool. Number 4, Gary. What do you got as number 3?
Number 3, Broken Down in a Time Machine. Such a clunky title. But the melody to me, like the melody of the chorus is so catchy that as soon as I heard it, I could not get it out of my head.
I mean, you covered it right away.
Again,
like, I woke up. I haven't even heard the album. This guy's already on Instagram posting a full cover.
But,
I was like, how did you know?
Well, I had pre-ordered the album, and it ended up coming like at the beginning of the week.
Oh, okay.
So I was listening to it. I was spinning it on my record player like all week.
Okay. He's on Ultimate Dash guitar tabs.
Yeah.
That's how I, then it's just, by ear, I kind of just figured it out. And then, but that is definitely a catchy dance song again.
If Bad Time is the best song on that record, then Broken Down in a Time Machine is easily my favorite. I cried twice listening to that song already.
Is it like the lyrics are great lyrics too? Like the lyrics are so good. I mean,
smart.
Damn it, Dan. God damn it, Dan.
Yeah. He's we could sit here and discuss him all we want. So that's 3. What do you got, Mike?
I have a message from Kathleen. That's number 3.
I love that. I'm so glad you added that.
Song.
That's like
that's what took over Queen of Pain today. I needed something other than cringe from God Damn It. Specifically because that is another one where Matt does like a random scream. Gotta be right. And it's like, no, I'm thinking of a different song. I'm thinking She Took Him to the Lake. But there is like, oh yeah, he does the big one. He does the big harmony for a message to Kathleen in the chorus. And just, I remember when the 10-year anniversary of God Damn It came out, they did like a DVD on the CD where they talked about the recording of the record. And back then, Dan Adriano was in Tuesday, and Tuesday was his main band, and Trio was like the new band. And Tuesday was going on tour, but he had to record all of his parts. So Dan recorded all of his bass lines, his lead vocals, and his harmonies first to the drums.
That's right.
Or to a click. Probably the drums.
Yeah.
But so that's why in that song, there's in that album, there's a lot of weird like vocal timing that somehow lines up. It definitely, what's that one song? It's like my guts dried up and died. What song is that right now? It's not Message from Kathleen, but whatever. It's one of those instances.
In the shopping cart.
Is it My Little Needle?
Yes.
My Little Needle.
Yes.
But so that's the example of like where something doesn't line up and make any sense.
But it fucking works.
It
fucking worked.
And,
it did work.
And I remember being with my friends singing along to that before we did the whole singing along to Take It Back Sunday in the car. We were doing My Little Needle and stuff like that. And just I don't know. Message from Kathleen is another one of those, like, I don't know, Dan love songs that just works really well and had like a different energy to it than the rest of Goddamn It, which has, it fits in with the album perfectly, but totally with different production could be on Maybe I'll Catch Fire.
It's a really good song. I just always thought that was like I love that song more than anything that he did on Maybe I'll Catch Fire, to be honest with you. But yeah, like listening to Goddamn It, I would always think to myself, I'm like, man, the timing is so interesting. Like, I wonder how he pulled, like in my head, I'm thinking like, how did he decide to go there? And then later finding out that it was just like this like weird thing that just fucking worked out. So
it makes you wonder if Matt had to change the way he did things. I'm sure he did, like.
Oh yeah. Especially when they do it live.
Yeah.
All right. So my next one is one of my favorite songs ever. I don't know why. Maybe I'm alone in this, but Mr. Chainsaw. I love this song. I just as soon as probably for Infirmary, like as soon as I heard it, I knew immediately like this was going to be my favorite song. I love those chords. I love that progression. I've probably used it 100 times. And the outro, case you're wondering, I'm saying,
And one of the few songs that you could hear Dan's bass line in is Mr. Chainsaw.
That's why I picked it. That's why I fucking picked it for sure. So, but like I said, I could have picked everything from Infirmary because it's just, a masterpiece. But I love Mr. Chainsaw. I have no idea what it's about. I have no idea why it's called Mr. Chainsaw to this day. So
it's about growing
came
up.
into my legs a long, long time ago.
Yeah, that's it. Sometimes I don't question things. I just sing along and I'm just like, yeah.
That's the Roots and Radicals of Alkaline Trio, where there's like 1,000 lyrics in it. They don't make any sense. They don't make any sense, but it's just a good song.
Yeah, taking the 60 bus for sure. All right, so top two, here we go, Gary.
Okay, my number two, going back to talking about like great outros, Crawl. It's got an excellent outro.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely was on the list at some point.
The song in of itself is great, but then like the outro with the the bass line and the sparse piano chords.
Yeah, the piano really nails it.
Really added like a depth to just a regular good old punk band, and then that was something sweet.
That song is the outro. Crawl is a great song. We covered it in our trio set at those festivals. Out of all the songs to pick, that was one that we definitely wanted to do for some reason. It's that outro. That outro makes the whole song. The whole song is really good, but it's that outro that's just like,
I don't know. Yeah, it's so good.
Know who your boyfriend is. So
killer.
Good. And then then Mike Fulham just like building the drums up. Oh,
yeah, man. Yeah, you can't like it killed me to leave that off, but I knew somebody would mention it, but I just
we had faith in each other. Somebody was going to mention it.
So, right. Mike, what do you got?
She Took Him to the Lake. She Took Him to the Lake is just what a great story. I feel like it's like I feel like it's like Maybe I'll Catch Fire, and then he meets the girl that you got so far to go, and then She Took Him to the Lake is like the end of that relationship, and She Took Him to the Lake has got this like visceralness to it, and just at the end where they're just doing that like outro part with just the music and the fucking cymbals, it's just like psh, psh, psh. It's so like aggressive and bad that it's good, like bad sounding like on your ear, but it's just like just I don't know. And then the end of it, he's like, and that girl went away. And it's just like She Took Him to the Lake is just another beautiful dance song, and just I don't know, very much could go on any Alkaline Trio record.
I love it. All right, so my number two is 97.
Ooh.
Man,
classic.
Yeah, like another long intro.
Yeah,
another long intro, but once it kicks, it kicks in slow. They did one of those, things that you do. It's like the quiet verse, and then you bring it back around. It's kind of what they do on radio. But 97, another fucking great outro. It's just like 97 is just one of those songs. When I think of Alkaline Trio, the things that made me fall in love with the band, that's just one of those songs where it just solidified me on my path to just forever adoring this band because they were just a little bit better, in my opinion, than their contemporaries and like what anyone else was doing. Whether or not people even have heard 97 or not, but I love that song.
That was the closer for so long.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was a closer for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, before radio came along.
Yeah. And I saw them open up with 97 once too.
Oh yeah. I love when bands do that. So
actually at that Warped Tour that you're talking about, they played 97 and his head blew up and they played the outro for like 10 minutes. And like they were just playing this like the riff over and over in case his head exploded and he needed a different head on stage.
Oh man.
And I remember specifically like he was just doing like the melody, but just making up words. And he's like, and there's a plane over there. And the whole crowd turned around. There was no plane. He's like, made you look. And then like the head got replaced and they finished the song in the most epic way possible.
Wow.
Oh, very cool.
Yo, I would never have remembered that, but you're right.
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember because it was like maybe the second time I ever got to see Alkaline Trio was that Warped Tour because I had seen them with Blink and then I don't think I saw them again for a bit.
You just killed me on that. Yeah. I would never have remembered that, but as you're telling that story in the beginning, I was like, I don't remember that. And
it was so awkward.
Then
they kept like the drum beat going and the bass going.
But I remember that he was like pointing to shit and like, wow. Okay, yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
I don't know how I remember it. I was very much like 7 packs of cloves in, sun drunk. I definitely wasn't drunk, but I was definitely sun drunk.
I was sober. I was sober as fuck, and I didn't even remember it. So
I don't remember anything. I definitely remember that though.
So all right, here we go. Number one, Gary.
It is one of my favorite Dan Love songs. Every Thug Needs a Lady.
Yeah.
Off of Good Morning. Again, great song structure. Pretty basic song structure, but like great intro. And then it just slaps to me. Like
great outro.
Great outro again. Exactly.
It's just another chorus. Their outros are just other choruses. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. They finish big. Like it's like, okay, you like this stuff. It was really cool, and let's just hit you with like some other really cool.
Check this out. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's definitely one of my. That's
I love that. Yeah, it's great.
Awesome.
Mike, what do you got?
All right, so like I said, my songs change all the time. My favorite Alkaline Trio songs, the top 10, but this one does not. This is my number one, and I didn't mention it before because somebody mentioned it already. But Mr. Chainsaw is my number one Alkaline Trio song. And I'll be short because I'm long-winded for all the reasons you said, and we can move on because it's amazing.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I just wanted to like shout out a couple of songs here before I give my number one.
Honorable mentions.
Okay, so I got
all of Remains and the One Man Army split.
Fall, yeah, for sure. Fall Victim, I love. My Standard Break from Life, Calling All Skeletons, I Can't Believe, Every Thug, and Dine Dine My Darling. I love those songs. My number one's Bleeder. Can't beat that song. 100%. Just like it came to me like the ending of that song is so giant. Like it's like that song is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Lonely Liver, Suspended in Liquid, like everything that they just like, that is like
the most Alkaline Trio song.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Most Alkaline Trio lyric.
That's my shit right there. Cool, man. That was fun. Now real quick, Gary, give me your 10 through 1.
Okay, so number 10 is Crimson. Number 9 is My Shame Is True. 8 is This Addiction. 7's Agony and Irony. 6 is This Thing Cursed. 5 is Maybe I'll Catch Fire. God Damn It's my number 4. Number 3 is Good Morning. From Here to Infirmary is number 2. And only because I think I just been listening to it a lot this week, and because it just dropped, Blood, Hair, and Eyeballs is in my like.
Wow, look at you.
Is in my sphere right now.
I can't wait to check back with you in a year to see
if it's the same. Yeah, I hear you.
I need to see it written down. Can you write down your 10? Like I need to see it written down next to mine at one point.
Mike,
I do have it written.
Mike, give me 10 through 1.
Okay. Also, I want to say there's no real bad Alkaline Trio records except for number 10 on my list. And it's not even that bad. After re-listening today, it's not as bad as I remember it. It's definitely one I don't listen to enough, but it definitely is number 10 for a reason. And with my friend Patty, who's also as big an Alkaline Trio fan as us, we had this talk years ago that if you got 4 or 5 good songs on a record, then it's a good record.
Yeah.
And for years, we argued that like before there was any other records and Crimson was the new record, that Crimson was like the worst record. And going back, there's like a bunch of songs on that record. So even though this is my number 10, Dine Dine My Darling is on this record, which is one of their best songs. And that's This Addiction is number 10. Blood, Hair, and Eyeballs, number 9. My Shame is True is number 8. Crimson, number 7. Agony and Irony, 6. Is This Thing Cursed is 5. Maybe I'll Catch Fire is 4. God Damn It is 3. Good Morning is 2. And From Here to Infirmary is 1.
Nice.
Right.
And not by favorites, just what I think are their best. Because that's not my favorite order. That's just what I think is their best.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah.
So for me, I'm going to go with what you said. This band could do no wrong for me. Even their worst album, I could still listen to, I think. It's just
even This Addiction.
So This Addiction is number 10. That's definitely some songs in there that I find completely questionable.
Draculina.
Beyond Draculina, I have to say, I'm gonna pull it up real quick here. So
I do remember going to the movies and hearing The American Scream in the opening of a movie and being really stoked for it.
Yeah,
I think it literally was Scream. It might have been the new Scream.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I think it might have been
the reboot.
It was like Scream 4.
No,
yeah,
it had to be 4. It had to be 4 because
yeah,
4 was 2011.
Yeah,
and this record's 2010.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'll tell you this: Dine, 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 My Darling, Off the Map.
Off the Map is a good song.
Fine, Kick Rocks. Like, this is some of fucking Dan's best work, I think. He's got some really good stuff on here.
Kick Rocks isn't on the record. That's a deluxe version.
It's an extra, but I've even when I bought the CD, like I'm like, okay, this song's great. But just in general, Off the Map, I think, and Dine Dine My Darling, so good.
Great song.
So all right, 10 is This Addiction. It's just really not that great. Even like
in comparison.
Yeah, even the songs that were supposed to be good were like, okay. Number 9, My Shame is True. Okay. There's some cool stuff on there. I love that St. Anthony song. I Pessimist, Only Here to
My Shame is True is nice because it was the palate cleanser after This Addiction. And so it felt good hearing that record.
You're right. Yeah.
There's some good Alkaline Trio vibes on that record.
And the new one, I have it number 8. There's stuff that I like on there. The first song, so what is that? Hot for Teacher?
Mm-hmm.
Hot for Preacher. So, Hot for Preacher. What am I saying? Every time I listen to that song, it's very hard for me to like decipher the structure. Like, I'm like, I don't know what the chorus is. Like, I know the catchy parts, but when I'm listening to it, it just doesn't really seem like it has like a structure that I could follow. So that knocked me off for a little bit. But now when I listen to it, I like it. I love Versions of You. I fucking Bad
Scars.
Scars. Like, all of Dan's songs are fucking awesome on it.
All 3 of them?
Well, there's only technically 10 songs on the album.
Right.
You don't include that. So 8. All right. So 7, God Damn It. That record just didn't age well for me when I listened to it. Like, I love the energy and I love the vibe of it, but like I'm okay on that. Maybe I'll Catch Fire. I love Keep 'Em Coming. I love Fuck You Aurora. I love 5, 3, 10, whatever. Like, all those songs are great. That album I skipped every time. Like, I skipped all the Dan songs every single fucking time.
Wow, I got a bunch of them on my list too.
Yeah, I know. Now I could listen to them, but back then I didn't care. Then I got 5, Agony and Irony, who I just couldn't believe. Like, as time went on, I hated this record.
Dude, Sam. I know we're picking up your list right now.
Yeah.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So Agony Irony was 6 for me, but it started off way higher on my list. And as I was re-listening, it kept getting closer to like the midpoint.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I found a way. What a great song. Like, Do You Want to Know is on that record, right? Like
Yes,
that
Do You
song
Wanna
is
Know.
amazing. Even Help Me is a fine song. It was their single. It just, it's another one of those weird sounding records. And I think it was just where we were in recording in that time period. Where people were like still doing analog and digital, trying to mix it all together.
Yeah.
But there's a
Over
lot
and
of
Out?
electron. Over and Out is beautiful.
Great.
You're like, it's I don't know. That's Into the Night. Like Agony and Irony is it's a solid middle of the road record for Alkaline Trio. But if you'd never heard Alkaline Trio and that was like the one record you heard, you'd be a fan. Great.
You would be a fan. And it was their one like major label, and it was really closer to the end of the pile. And then as I listened to it more, I'm like, yo, these songs, like I'm connecting with these songs more now than like, let's say, I don't know, My Little Needle or whatever the fuck, like, which I love. I love. But
well, because at the time when it came out, like a lot of not super fans, like friends of ours who might be big Alkaline Trio fans, they already had their fill of Alkaline Trio. They had enough records, whereas we three psychos were like, we need more Alkaline Trio. We need more. Because there are a lot of people that are like that,
Oh, yeah. They're like, I'm not listening to once they hit like Crimson, they're like, nah, I'll take the first 3.
Yeah, but dude, Crimson's got some, and I get it.
Some bangers.
And I get why, because they had enough records. They're like, I got enough. I can go listen to other music. And for me, I was just like, well, this is one of my favorite bands, so I need more. So give me number 4. Give me number 4.
Number 4, Good Morning. When this record came out, I still had Infirmary fresh in the brain. I liked it. I didn't love it. I didn't like a lot of dance songs towards the end. I love Emma. I love 100 Stories. For me, the clunker was Continental. I love Fatally Yours. I think that's a super underappreciated song. I love
always a circle pit when they play that song.
Yeah. I love Sorry About That. Oh, Sorry About That. Is that the one that's on there?
No, that's End of Goddamn.
Oh, Blue in the Face.
Blue in the Face. Yeah. Great song.
So that's my
Sorry About That part 2.
That's my 4, and then top 3. So Is This Thing Cursed? When I love this record out of the gate. When this record came out, we had come off This Addiction, and we had come off of My Shame Is True, which I'm like, okay, these are okay. But when this came out and I heard all these songs, I'm going to pull it up right now. Like, these songs are fucking killer. Okay.
Dude, the problem with Is This Thing Cursed for me is I can never remember the song titles or the songs. I never go back to it. But when I do go back to it, it's so good. It's so good. I remember when it came out too. I can't believe it's 6 years old already.
Because this was like in the like pure knee deep, and like I had CDs from the other ones. Like I had actual physical media of everything leading up to this. And then Is This Thing Cursed was the first like pure like Spotify record. So the song titles aren't really burned in there because I didn't have it. But Is This Thing Cursed? Little Help is kind of corny, but I love it. I Can't Believe, Sweet Vampires, Stay, Heart Attacks. Fucking Worn So Thin. That's a really good fucking
Worn So Thin.
Song.
Yeah, I definitely know that's the title of that one.
I think to me, what really real quick was the thing about Is This Thing Cursed is that like Matt was coming off of another Blink album. Like they had just done another Blink album, and they just finished another tour, I think. And I didn't love the Blink stuff that they did with Matt. And it had nothing to do with, them in general. I think it was just like, I wanted more, like you said, I want more Alkaline Trio, So like when Is This Thing Cursed came out, I was like, yes, they finally did it in another album. So to me, I was like, that was a high for me.
Awesome opening track.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I listened to the Blink albums with him.
Yeah.
What did he?
Oh, there's some good songs.
I think there's 2 albums I think he did with them, right? I think it was
second album is atrocious.
Yeah, California was good.
California was good, and there was good B-sides on there too, and it was long. It was like a Rancid album. There's like 20 songs.
Yeah, there's a long one.
But the second, then there was 9. 9 it's called. There's a song called Dark Side. That's an Alkaline Trio song. It was a single. It was one of Blink's singles. It's 100% an Alkaline Trio, like I Found a Way dance song. Great song, but the whole album is really bad. There's nothing really You know, I would listen to This Addiction over 9 any day.
Well, you know, I it's hard for me to say. Like, maybe I heard one or two of the songs, and I just, to me, it was like it's like the Total Recall remake. Like, I know it existed, but I had no urge. Like,
I'll send you Dark
no
Side
reason.
later, and just close your eyes and just think this is Alkaline Trio.
Yeah.
So just say in your brain, say this is Alkaline Trio, and not Blink-182, and you'd be like, oh, this is a good song.
All right, so my top two: Crimson and Infirmary. I know Crimson is like the point where they kind of like turned into, you know, when we would go see them, they were Alkaline Quattro for sure. Like, I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't care. You know, I love those songs. I really like. I love all those songs, but you know, Infirmary is their masterpiece, beginning to end. There is not one fucking bad song on there. Everything on there is my favorite song. You know, everything. I just like, that's the goddamn one for sure. I fucking love that record. But cool, man. This was fun.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for playing along with me, since my
For sure.
pod partners would never.
Hey,
I'll
glad to do it.
talk about this forever. This is the best.
So what do you got coming up, Gary? I know, like, you guys are like super busy. Like, every time.
Yeah.
This guy's like sold out shows at like Brooklyn Bowl. I'm just like seeing these pictures. I was like, yo, these guys are fucking crushing right now.
It's nuts. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. This week we're at the Suffolk Theater. So we're local, out in Riverhead. It's an all ages show, which is fun. So, you know,
when is that?
That's Saturday night. So
what is that's
we
the
go
10th?
on at like 8:00. Yeah.
I'll
Whatever the date is.
I'll be watching the Smiths, unfortunately.
Hey, it's your annual thing though. You got to do that.
Well, it's like a Valentine's Day thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And when we played the Suffolk, you know, we talked to that girl Meg. Is that her name that's out
I think
there?
so. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, that's, man, I wish I would have gotten a chance to see you guys. But what's on the agenda for the rest of the month though?
Okay, so then we're going to Syracuse and Rochester the following weekend. So the week before President's Day, the weekend before President's Day. So we'll be up there. We'll be at
How long's the set now?
we're probably about an hour and 25 minutes, hour and a half, a little shy of an hour and a half.
And how hard is
it? We probably do about 30 something songs.
There's like 5 of you. Like, how do you like, there's definitely songs in there that someone else picked that you don't want to play. So how does that work?
Well, you know, I think when we first got together, we kind of just like, all the 5 of us were like, okay, let's each pick 5 songs, and we'll learn them, get together, and then because we were basically just trying to get a set long enough for Mulcahy's, because I think our first show was at Mulcahy's, and that's how we kind of started. And then, like, as the years have been going, we kind of just, we don't really add too many new things throughout the year, but like towards the end of the years when we'll start getting antsy and like, let's add some new songs. So, like, you know, we'll add like 3 or 4 songs.
Okay.
And you know, everybody gets a kind of a say in it. You know, there's definitely some songs that I'm not like a huge fan of doing. But
is that when you have to break out the violin and play Ocean Avenue? You have to play.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's funny. Sometimes we'll have like an actual violin player come and play, but we also,
there it is. I knew
we've also resorted to start using tracks now too, so that
oh, cool. What's that
way?
like?
That way, it's interesting because I've never done that before. You know, with the metronome and with like a track and like someone like kind of telling you, okay, here's the chorus is coming up or something like that. Because a lot of times we'll have, because you know, we have like 3 different drummers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like, you know, our original drummer, he got married and moved to Florida. But like, I think sometime over
that happened to our original drummer too. Why did they go to Florida?
They love Florida. But yeah, like sometimes there's one weekend over the summer that we were down in Virginia, and the drummer that had replaced him couldn't make it. So he ended up like driving up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And filling in. So, I mean, it works out pretty good. And then now we have a 3rd guy in like the roster to, you know, fill in for this other guy, because he's got some family things going on as well. So we have like a deep bench of people. So I think having like that voice say, okay, here comes the chorus, or here, you know, like it gives it like a uniformity.
Cool.
So that, you know, the guy's not lost.
Yeah. And out of your set, like, what's the song that you look forward to the most?
Ooh, I'm a big fan of any of the A Day to Remember songs
Okay.
because these kids go fucking nuts for those songs.
Yeah.
So like as soon as you start playing Downfall of Us All or something like that, and that chugging guitar riff, I mean, we're talking like bunch of frat bros
Dude,
getting nuts.
the crowds that come to these shows, because I know you guys are doing some cool stuff. Like, is it like nostalgia people who are going to like emo night, or is it younger kids? Like, what's it like?
There is definitely, I would say,
There's got to be a crossover, right?
I would say the majority is the nostalgia folks. Definitely a lot of like elder people that leaving the kids home with the parents, and
Okay.
Yeah.
getting out for the night. And
That's cool.
but then there's the young like bar crowd kids, but like they're mostly into like Yellow Card and
But
okay.
and the
popular
criteria,
things.
the criteria, obviously, I'm pointing out the obvious, is like anyone who's played the Warp Tour, right?
Yeah. I mean, believe me, like myself and Anthony are very much wanting to like add even more things. Like I don't think I feel like we should be doing at least one No Effects song.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Even if you do linoleum, something quick.
Right. Yeah, exactly. A Rancid tune.
Yeah.
And then
You can play Rancid. Everybody knows Rancid.
And Rancid, yeah, definitely has like a crossover.
You play Ruby Soho.
Yeah, exactly. Or Olympia, Washington, or yeah.
The Roots of Radical, something.
Yeah. But no, yeah, we're slowly chipping away at them to like start adding.
Yeah, I mean,
more.
Also you don't want to fuck with the crowd too much, like.
Right.
No, yeah,
that's true too.
I get it.
Yeah, you don't want to. There's some weird Warped Tour years. There was some.
Yeah.
You like Attack.
Right. Or Katy Perry. I mean,
yeah.
Wait till we start the Lollapalooza band.
There you go.
Oh man.
Mike, Jukebox, what do you guys got going?
Jukebox is doing a weekend down to through Pennsylvania, the same President's Day weekend, doing like York and Philly, and actually New Windsor, New York, which is a new all ages venue up there. It's supposed to be pretty rad going on. And then pretty much doing like long weekends until June. We got some festival stuff that's not announced yet.
Where is that? Is somebody reached out to us about a place in Pennsylvania that's like all ages, like an art space? Is that what it is?
No, it's called Skid Row Garage. It's a venue, but it started in someone's garage.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And there'll be some like festival stuff that's like going to be announced soon, and like mini tours up to that. And then pretty much we're just writing right now. We have 10 songs that are like fleshed out. Some of them are more done than others. And it's just tough. Norm just had a kid within the year. I have a kid and another one coming on the way in July. So pretty much we're like stacking the first half of the year with like with 3 to 5 shows a month with kids and writing. And then once July hits, we're just going to finish writing and then record probably at the end of the summer. And then next year we're planning on doing like a full tour stuff for that record, go to Japan, go back to Europe, do the whole thing. But this year is like the quiet before all that. So not quiet, just not as crazy playing as shows.
There's the grown up year, 25. You go back.
Yeah, I feel like we had that year already though. I feel like the COVID couple of years that now we're like, but it's cool because we all have so many things going on. I got the vampires going on.
Yeah.
Side band, which I fucking love doing, which is all old Jukebox guys. So it's kind of funny.
I love seeing and play, like when we got to play that show at the brewery with you guys. Love seeing those guys.
Yeah, so it's just like we're doing that sort of shit. So cool. It's just busy writing.
Yeah, same. We got 17 jams this year that we're gonna try to drop out. Guys, man, thanks for hanging. I'm gonna put this episode out probably Friday. Because why the fuck not? So
awesome.
Hell yeah.
We will talk.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Cool.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks, dude.
Bye.
Hello, what the hell am I doing here? It's a really nice suit. This is a really comfortable chair. See, I don't know if you can help me or not. Cause I don't feel sick. But the pain's in my head. and I'll take to wishing and fall under, sleeping safe and sound. Just give